To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So I showed you about last Saturday. This is Saturday. So last Saturday, Carolyn and I started getting truckloads of firewood from this place, giving it away for free. And this whole area, if you'll recall, was just filled all the way back to that log back there. And then of course we still got this over here. So I split all this, well, most of this. Some of it is this over here. I'll explain what this is in a minute. So this was hickory and some other species. I wasn't sure what it was. And there might have been some oak in there also. Split that with the maul and the axe. And just with that, I got 2 cords here. Now, there was probably a 1/3 of a cord already there. So about a cord and 2/3 is what I got from that last load. And so the week prior to that, I got that 1/3, and that was all hickory. So within the last 2 weeks, I've split with the maul 2 cords here. That's about 16 feet, roughly. It's a little longer than 16 feet. Definitely over 4 feet high, but I always, see, this comes to almost my head height. And so you're only supposed to measure it up 4 feet high, but I always go a little higher just in case my measurements are off. So this is probably a lot more than 2 cords. Now this is sycamore. My dad called me today and I said, what's the first thing you think of when I say sycamore for firewood? And he replied back, hard to split. It is, it's so terribly hard to split. So Carolyn's been splitting that with the manual log splitter. And she does a couple logs a day. It's just really hard to split. See, this is what it does. It just kind of splinters off. And the thing about sycamore is you get basically two different types of layers in it. So you get the outer layer, and then you get this inner core. And so what you got to do is you got to split this outer layer off. So you slice this and then slice this and slice it. And then you got to come in and get that inner core. So that piece I was holding up there, that's the inner core. This will give us probably 2 years worth of firewood right here. This will burn this coming winter. I'm hoping only to burn about a cord of wood. So that'll take us to right there. So we got about 7 cords of wood. So that's, in my mind, about 7 years worth of firewood, heating our little tiny house. And that's the huge advantage about having a tiny house. It's just so small, it doesn't take anything to heat it. Which kind of brings me to today's subject about, you know, the government's lying to us and we better start preparing now. And as I've said before, I'm not a big fan of prepper channels. Although right now, YouTube is really allowing those channels to grow. If you know anything about YouTube, YouTube goes through these cycles. And so like off-grid living and nomadic living, those channels are really prosperous in late summer, midsummer, all the way to about Christmas. And then they die off. Well, then the prepper channels pick up during this time. Of course, anytime there's a traumatic event, prepper channels always pick up. Prepper channels, I very rarely learn anything from prepper channels other than how to be scared. There is an exception to that. There's a channel that I like to watch, and her and I actually communicate back and forth a few times. Living on a Dime, if you're interested in learning how to prep, common sense stuff, that's a good channel to check out. I don't consider myself a prepper, and I don't even consider myself a conspiracy theorist anymore. I used to be. I used to worry all the time. You know, this was back in the early 2000s. I worried about everything. None of it really came true. The things that I was scared of, we got through. I keep thinking, well, okay, well, we got through that, we got through that, we got through that. Do I really need to sit around being scared all the time? Well, then this last year, of course, we had the lockdown. And that kind of brought back this feeling of, man, maybe I was right. But here's the thing I keep thinking is, I don't have to worry about anything. Because every time I get a notification to these prepper channels, and I watch them, you get this guy, well, here's what's happening today in the world. You better start preparing. Okay, what do I need to do? Well, let me tell you, what you need to do is start worrying about the government. You need to worry about zombies, and you need to, and it's, you know, they got that beard, and they're always talking about how scary things are. And okay, what do I need to do? And I really have come to the conclusion they don't know what to do. They're just telling you, you better be ready for it. Well, I don't need to be scary. I don't need to worry about anything. I don't care what's happening. I really don't care. I don't watch the news. I get on YouTube occasionally, and I watch some of my favorite news broadcasters. They don't really give you all the news. You know, they give you 5 minutes of a whole hour-long program, and I'm fine with that. I watch Netflix for TV. We watch Netflix about 2 hours each night, an hour and a half. Right now we're watching that old episode, Stargate SG-1, and I think we're coming up on the end of the series on that. That being said, if something does happen, just like last year, I don't really have to worry about much of anything. I will say that last year, when everybody was locked down, we weren't even that prepared. We were still living in the camper. Of course, we had our solar panels. We only had 800 watts at the time. Now we got 1,000 watts. And we had our generator. The well was barely working. Now it's working much better. We got it fixed this year. It was always dirty water, and we always had to flush it out. But the thing is even as unprepared as we were last year, I feel like we did an amazing job actually having a good time. We were stuck here a month, and we were busy, and the whole month just flew right by. Like I said, we get on YouTube, and the whole world is just in crisis, and I got my little acre and a half of paradise here. It was just strange how it really didn't affect us. You get these preppers, and they're always talking about, we have to prepare for this, and we have to prepare for that. And I'm just saying, why not just, in life, be generally prepared? Just live the way you might have to live. If you're really that scared, and you want to be a prepper, then live the lifestyle. Don't prepare, just be, just do. And that's what Carolyn and I do. We're not preppers. I can't stress that enough. I don't stockpile anything. I don't stockpile food. I have a couple backup things, but that's just so if, like last year, Amazon wasn't shipping things out very well, or if my bank isn't giving out money, or whatever happens, I have an extra well pump, for example. So I got a well pump down in the well. I went ahead and bought a second one, so I got a second one that I can put down the well, just in case something happens to the well, and I can't immediately go buy a new well pump for whatever reason. But getting back to the bank thing, one of the best things you can do to prepare for any problem is just be debt-free. If you're not tied down to someone who you owe money to, think about this. If something does go wrong in the world and you owe a bunch of money, those people are going to want their money. And you don't have any. So being debt-free is the first step to being prepared to anything. But I will say, the one thing that has me the most concerned, if something were to just go terribly wrong, is gasoline. Gasoline is, I'm still kind of tied to it. And I don't know how to totally get away from it. I have an idea how to get away from it. Right now I got a generator. Although I don't need to use the generator that often, I can use solar panels for everything that we got now. We got our well pump, I can use solar panels. As far as electricity is concerned, I'm really not needing the generator, although I still use it quite a bit. But if something came down to it, I didn't have gas, generator's not a problem. The one thing that is a problem though, is my chainsaw. The chainsaw takes a lot of petroleum, gasoline and the bar oil. You got to replace the chain frequently. Of course, I could go buy a handsaw and an axe and chop down a tree, and it would be a lot of work. Fortunately, we don't have to have a lot of firewood. We could come down in the woods and just break up, deadfall, and that would work for us. We'd be okay. But the gasoline is a problem. Now, I have seen TV shows back in the day when I was still a conspiracy theorist. You got 15 gallons in your car. Well, if you're not driving anywhere because you're avoiding the zombies, you could use that 15 gallons out of your vehicle. 15 gallons in a chainsaw would last a very long time. Of course, you got to have the bar oil and you got to have the 2-cycle engine oil. And so I do have a little bit of that. Here's the thing I think about when it comes to prepping. How long do you have to prep? These preppers keep talking about, I got 20 years worth of food. Okay, great, you got 20 years worth of food. And then the very next breath, they'll say, I got a generator and I got 10 gallons of gas. Okay, that 10 gallons of gas is gonna last you, at tops, 2 weeks. So 2 weeks of gasoline. Then what? Is your food, you're gonna turn your food into gasoline? They don't seem to always connect the dots that, are you doing this long term where you need 20 years of food? Then you're gonna need 20 years of gasoline if you're gonna run a generator. Whereas if you're just living the life, you don't really have to think about how long things are gonna last. You got the chickens, and the chickens will get us by for a while with their eggs. They talk about cholesterol and all that, but actually eggs have good cholesterol in them, and you can survive off of them. I've done it before. During my conspiracy theory days, I had duck eggs and chicken eggs. We had so many eggs, we were just running out of our ears. So we decided for 2 months that we weren't going to buy any food. We were just going to live with whatever we had in the house. And so we made it 2 months on eggs. It was boring and trying to figure out different ways to spice it up. But if you just live the life, you don't have to be afraid. You know, it's not so much that I want to survive or not. It's just I'm living, I'm happy. And as long as I'm happy, I'm not going to sit around scaring myself with these conspiracy theories, even if they are true, so I'm not happy anymore. So I hope I can inspire you to find your happiness and not be scared. Thanks for watching.